The day of Pearl Harbor was a very traumatic experience. A very frightening day. My parents had already left for the amusement pier, and I was home alone. And I knew I should go to the pier and tell my parents what had happened, but I was too afraid to leave the house at the time. It was quite a scary time, and especially living by the beach. We just lived a block from the ocean, and so, you know, at night we had to put black velvet curtains in the windows so that there would be no light shining through at night. And at the time, you know, I was in in my senior class, and we were studying civics. And so that's why it was such a shock when we learned about the government's plans to send all of us out of the state. And it was unbelievable. I really don't remember too much of that period. It was, you know, it's been so long ago. Just know that Dad was suddenly missing, and I think my poor mom had to take care of the business all by herself. And the only reason I could think of his being in prison was that at the time of Pearl Harbor, he was president of the PTA at our Japanese language school. So that was his crime. Well, I remember our first meal was served on a tin plate, and I think it was cold rice and sardines, and not very delicious. And I remember the showers were in the roundhouse where they used to scrub the horses, and there were no partitions. Oh. One side of the barrack was for the women, and one side was for the men, but they had knotholes that were popped out by the men, so the women had no privacy at all. It was really humiliating. We were too busy existing. We had to survive, and we tried to make our lives bearable by being busy. Summer of 1944, a family friend, Mr. Hugh Anderson, came to visit us and proposed something very interesting. Perhaps it was time to ask the commanding general of the Western Defense Command whether it was not time to open up that area and let the Japanese Americans return. And he said possibly if we could get someone, have a test case. I was met at the train station by some students from Pasadena City College and Mr. Anderson and his family and some members of the Friends of the American Way. But the next morning, all hell broke loose because the school editor, the editor of the school paper had notified the Pasadena paper about the return of a Nisei student to Pasadena. And when the news got out prematurely that I was in Pasadena, then all the other newspapers in the LA area got hold of the news, and the big protest started. Pasadena residents would march to the school board and demand my ouster. As they put it, the Japanese was being coddled, and they thought they were making such a big fuss over me while nothing was being done for returning veterans. Signs in the window saying no Japs allowed, several places. And it was hard to get jobs in Pasadena if you were a Japanese American. So we had to go to Los Angeles to find a job. We were fighting the same battles, you know, that they were fighting for the rights of all American citizens, you know, and my job was to preserve the rights of all American citizens to go to the school of their choice. Well, it was very hard for them because they lost their businesses, you know. So my dad went to the hostel, and all these same men there had been learning to become gardeners. And my mother, not to be outdone, became a cleaning lady. And she went to these rich homes in Pasadena, you know, by bus, and scrub floors and clean bathrooms, and you know, worked really hard. And that really broke my heart. So I just couldn't stand it. So finally, I quit school, and instead I went to a business school to learn secretarial skills. So I didn't finish junior college. I quit. I don't think anyone else should have to endure what the Japanese say had to endure. You know, I think it changed the whole course of their lives. For some it was good, and for some maybe it was not so good. But I met my husband in Santa Anita, and that was good.
Esther Takei Nishio.